here in Carson, California. We are at halftime of the first friendly for the U.S. in 2014. 1-0 over South Korea. With Alexi Lawless, I'm Taylor Twellman. And Alexi, there are two ongoing themes with the U.S. national team and Jurgen Klinsmann. Yesterday, we sat with Jurgen Klinsmann and asked him, does the return of Michael Bradley and Clint Dempsey hurt his preparation for the World Cup?
I don't think it weakened our team, but it makes the challenge a little bit bigger because you want obviously the best players on your team on an international perspective play with the best teams or best players in the world, which is in Europe. Having them come back now, they're not getting challenged by the best players in the world. They are the standouts here in MLS, and it's exciting because, you know, it makes all the kids out there and all the people out there want to watch them. So it's great for us here. It's very difficult for us from a national team perspective because we're going to measure ourselves with the best in the world this summer in Brazil.
Oh, Taylor. Jurgen Klinsmann is putting a brave face on it, but I really think he's disappointed. I think if you got him up in the middle of the night when you're at your most honest and you asked him, that he would feel that his team has been weakened by this and therefore it's more difficult this summer. However, I will remind people that the best the U.S. team ever did in a World Cup in 2002, over half of that roster was from MLS, so it can be done. But when we did talk to Jurgen Klinsmann, what he mentioned specifically was the speed of play and the speed of thought, and that's really his challenge he feels from the time that those players get released from their MLS clubs to the time that World Cup starts, is how does he get them back that speed of thought? Because, to be quite honest, in the way that he said it and even what he didn't say, he doesn't believe that speed of thought can be attained by playing in MLS.
The other thing we sat down and talked, and it's a lot on social media right now, is the form of Jozy Altidore. But we asked Jurgen Klinsmann yesterday, he is an ex-striker. What would he do in that situation at Sunderland?
I would get very angry. And I would prove it to my teammates and to the club and the people in the Premier League that I'm a damn good striker. And this is what I want Jozy to do. I want him to fight through this moment. It's a tough one because he gets very bad deliveries there. And I've watched his game there. But this is what it is about. You know, you challenge yourself to the next level. That's his next level. It's not Holland anymore. It's the Premier League. And I want him to fight through that.
Well, maybe Jozy hurt him because they had a good game today, 3-0. He didn't score, but he did play well. But as I said before, Taylor, and you know this,
here we go.
Form is fallacy. And to a certain extent, when Jozy gets back with the national team, he's coming into playing with a better team. He's playing, I think, with better talent around him. And in a certain sense, that weight is lifted off his shoulders. So it would not surprise me in the least for Jozy Altidore to come back after what is already a disappointing season over the EPL, come back with the national team and do well this summer. It certainly can happen.
Well, and I don't think Jurgen Klinsmann or Jozy Altidore would deny that he needs to score a goal going into the World Cup. That's for sure. Any forward will tell you that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, Alexi Lawless will address the contract extension for Jurgen Klinsmann. How will that affect the roster in Brazil? The World Cup is a little more than 4 months away, and ESPNFC.com is your place for all previews and analysis. Right now, Doug McIntyre of ESPN The Magazine assesses the U.S. men's national team roster at this current moment. Welcome back to the StubHub Center with Alexi Lawless, Taylor Twellman. Alexi, in the offseason, Jurgen Klinsmann signed a 4-year contract extension that now takes him to Russia 2018. Do you think that affects his roster selection come in May?
I don't think so, and I don't think it should. In other words, I'm on record saying that there shouldn't have been a contract extension because what's the worst thing that can happen? Jurgen Klinsmann's no longer the coach. I still think that the team would continue to progress. Having said that, I think that he should and will be judged on what happens this summer. We asked him a question about if he has one roster spot left, does he bring a veteran or does he bring a young guy with looking forward?
And I said Julian Green.
But he said absolutely not. He is focused on this summer, on this team doing well this summer, as he should be. And by the way, if this team doesn't do well this summer, regardless of the contract extension, I'm not so sure that Jurgen Klinsmann continues on to Russia.
Well, and I think he's real big about chemistry in that locker room, which is why roster spots 21, 22, 23 will be good veterans for that roster. One of those veterans was asked to show up today, Chris Wondolowski. Big goal early on in this game. Who will show up in the second half for the United States? 1-0, second half kickoff coming up next.